Saints, y'all ready to get some word? As always, when I'm up here, I want to give first honor and glory and praise to the Father, High Shar High, give him his due diligence, his due praise. Also, I would like to take this time to ask for the saints to pray for my wife, Tiffany. As you can see, she's not here today. She's not feeling well. So I ask that you keep her in your prayers. Or she just decided not to be here because she knew I was teaching a lesson on marriage and courting, so she didn't hear what I was going to say. Seriously, I was joking. That was a joke. Seriously, now do keep her in prayers. I'm going to try to embrace, how Bishop Hannah does. I'm normally, when I do my lessons, I'm very meticulous about the things that I'm going to say. I already have my commentary written down. I kind of just, read straight off the verbatim by the book. But it's a lot of precepts that I want to go over. So I'm just going to kind of go freelance it. But like I said, the lesson today is going to be about marriage and courting. I want to thank, Deacon Sarah Wild for breaking down and edifying the protocols that we have for the church. The church has set forth protocols, like he said, in order to protect the sanctity of each individual and the sanctity of the body in general. Even when two people go into a courtship, it doesn't affect just those two individuals. It actually affects the entire body and the family members of those involved. So again, we need to make sure that we're taking courtship and marriage very, very serious. And through the Spirit of the Most High, I pray that everyone gets edification throughout this lesson. Okay? So I'm going to start it off first with a question. So, what is marriage? I want to look for a key word. I'm asking a legitimate question. I want somebody to raise their hand and tell me in one word what they feel like marriage is. Give me one. We don't have to raise your hand. Just shout it out. I'm going to hear someone. Someone say unity, a consummation, a commitment, image of the Most High. None of these are wrong. I'm looking for one particular word. What'd you say, Roy? One, achad. All right. One flesh. All right. So all of these things are aspects of marriage, but I think that marriage, in one word, is a covenant. It's a covenant. Most people, when they hear marriage, they think of a marriage as when I say most people, I'm talking about people in the world, they think of it as a contract. I want you to understand the difference between a covenant and a contract. So I do got one precept, well not precept, but a commentary. Go ahead, brother, read that first commentary for me.
What is marriage? Marriage is a covenant. A lot of people think of marriage as a legal contract between two people. But in biblical terms, it's much deeper than that. Typically, a contract is viewed as a written or spoken agreement that is intended to be enforceable by law.
So pause on right there. First of all, most people refer to a contract as something that is enforceable by law. As in, okay, hey, we're married, so I'm going to force you to do these things. I have certain expectations that because you're my spouse, you need to do these things or else. That's the mindset that some people go into with their marriage. And typically those people that have those type of mindsets are also the same people that have a lot of marital problems, because you're going into the marriage with the concept of we signed a contract. So now I'm going to hold you to this contract. Read.
Contracts often deal with specific expectations.
They deal with what?
Specific expectations.
Expectations,
that are to be upheld by either party and are usually motivated by the desire to get or receive something.
So they have an expectation to get or receive something. Read.
In the midst of the arrangement.
So again, if you're going into a marriage with the mindset of, because now I'm married, I expect to get this from my spouse. For example, if a man gets married and now say, hey, you're my wife. Now because you're my wife, I expect for you to have dinner for me at home every night. That's an expectation mindset of a contract. And then because if the wife doesn't fulfill that expectation, now he finds a reason that he thinks, because you didn't fulfill this expectation, Now you broke our contract. You broke our contract, so now I have the right to go step off and do something else. That's the wrong concept or the mindset that you should have. Read.
When certain expectations are not met, people tend to break or dissolve contracts. So contracts are only binding under certain circumstances.
So is marriage supposed to be circumstantial? It's supposed to be indefinite, till death do us part, right? Read.
A covenant, on the other hand, is viewed as an agreed pledge or promise.
So now we're going to get the difference. So again, a contract has expectations, and a contract is normally drafted when somebody wants something. Even, again, when a lot of people get into a marriage, am I going to get into a marriage because I want that person to please me? That means I'm wanting something. I'm getting married because I want whatever that person can do to do something for me. Versus a covenant is the exact opposite. Read that again.
A covenant may have contracts within it, but the nature of the agreement is different. Covenants are generally initiated for the benefit of the other person.
So a covenant is normally for the benefit of the other person or the other party. The Most High, did he make a contract with Israel, or did he make a covenant with Israel? It was a covenant, right? Because is the Most High benefiting from us following his laws? No. Who's benefiting from that? We are. So the Most High made a covenant with us. He did not make a contract with us. Read.
The desire behind a covenant is to give unconditionally rather than to receive.
So again, the purpose of a covenant is to give rather than to receive. So again, if you're going into a marriage or a courtship with a mindset of what can I give to this person? And I want to begin to court, I want to begin to marry this individual because I want them to benefit. If you're going into the marriage with that mindset, should never be dissatisfied with that. You should never look at that person and be upset at your spouse because you don't have an expectation from them. I'm not marrying you because of what I can give. I'm marrying you so what I can give to you. And if both people are doing that, then both of you should always be satisfied. So to start that off, the first scripture I want to go to is the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. So again, we're trying to understand the mindset behind marriage. Again, a covenant is an agreed upon pledge or promise. That's what a marriage is a pledge or a promise of you seeking to fulfill the desires of that other person. All right, when you get to Hebrews 13, give me a con.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers the Most High will judge.
So first and foremost, marriage is honorable. So we should seek marriage because marriage is honorable, especially if you have a lust that is going to pull you away from the Most High. And then when I'm speaking of lust, it's obviously talking about lust from the bed, but in marriage, the bed is undefiled. But it says whoremongers and adulterers will be judged. Later on in the lesson, we're going to get into the judgment. But before we get into the judgment, we want to talk about what type of marriages should you be looking for, right? What type of spouse should you be looking for? When you begin the courting process, what steps should you first take before you get to that point? All right? Read this first commentary or next commentary.
How should we go about looking for a spouse? First thing is to seek counsel.
So first, we need to seek counsel. That's the very, very first thing that you need to do. Again, like Deacon Sarah brought out earlier, there are certain instances or certain situations or certain spirits that the leadership may know about a certain individual that you may not know. So the reason for seeking counsel first is, again, to protect you, both individuals, and other members in the body. If you're not seeking that counsel, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because you shouldn't lean on your own judgment as to how you think you're going to judge that person's spirit. the leadership, one, they might have, not only do they have experience because they've dealt with many different types of counsels, but now they also have the spiritual wisdom to apply to it as well. Read.
First thing is to seek counsel so you know what to look for and what to avoid.
So you need to know what to look for and what to avoid. You know, leadership might say, okay, well, what is it that you see in that person? And if your answer is, oh, I just think that they're cute, well, that might be the wrong thing that you're looking for. You know, or what to avoid. Again, what to avoid would be those certain things or the certain spirits that person might be dealing with that you are unaware of. Or are there certain temptations that are hurdles that they haven't put down. You might not know those things. And also, and again, when you're dating in the world, typically people always say this, okay, when you go on a date with someone, you're not actually meeting or dating that person, you're dating their representative. Everyone's going to put their best foot forward and put on a front, so you don't really know the real baggage that's behind them. You don't really know that person. And then, by the time you start courting that person again in the world, now you've laid down with this person, and then the baggage still doesn't come out until later on. Okay, you're like, I've dealt with this person for a short amount of time, you know, we're going to move on to the next step. Not knowing, again, all the baggage they're bringing forth. But again, hopefully in the body, like I said, again, another one of the protocols is that you need to be baptized, which in order to even be baptized, there's a time limit or time restraint. You need to be with the body for 3 months, right? And then if you're seeking to court, you would both need to be baptized for 6 months after that. So the body or the leadership has seen this individual personal walk for a certain period of time before you are willing to court. Continue.
Trusting in the Most High also includes trusting in His ministers.
So that's another thing. Someone might sit there and say, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to trust that the Most High is going to tell me whether or not this person is good for me or not. Okay, well, if you're trusting in the Most High, once again, the Most High has placed certain people in certain positions of leadership, or even if not just leadership, it could be, well, I'll leave it at that. Certain people, the Most High said pastors, preachers, teachers. So he's put certain qualities in people to lead and give instruction to. So if you're only trusting in the Most High, you also need to trust in the wisdom that He's given others to give to you. And we're going to, again, go into some scriptures to edify that as well. Read.
Then after seeking counsel, the point of the courting process is to try the spirit.
So again, moving forward, once you do get the approval from leadership to court, then again, the whole point of the courting process is not just to get married. The point is to try the spirit. Sometimes throughout the courting process, it doesn't work out. And you know, that is okay. Not everyone is for everyone else. Because you might have certain qualities or traits that person might not be willing to deal with, or you might, that person might not be the aid or the help that you really, really need. So again, if you're going through a courting process or have gone through a courting process and you didn't end up marrying that person, that doesn't mean either one of you is at fault or either one of you did anything wrong. It means that you either A, probably learned something, or you just learned that that's not the person that you're meant to be with. Read.
Make sure that the person is equally yoked with you, and they will actually aid you in your walk with the Most High.
So again, throughout the courting process, you need to see if you're both equally yoked. Obviously, first and foremost, equally yoked, you should be seeking someone that is in the truth, but then also on top of that, equally yoked with your spirit. If you're a homebody, and that's just, you know, the spirit that's on you, you're someone that always wants to be home, is that going to necessarily mix with someone that always wants to be out and about doing things? And it doesn't mean that you guys can't, because they might say opposites attract, but again, that's through that courting process, you can both find out if that is going to work with you. All right, so now we're going to go into the scriptures, like I said, the precepts. Most High willing, we can get through all these. This is a lot. The first precept is coming from the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 5. And again, also, like I mentioned, throughout the courting process, you're looking for someone that's equally yoked, and they can aid you in your walk. You should be looking for a helpmeet, and for a man and woman. Because I know it says that the woman is supposed to be the helpmeet, but Let me hear from some of the wives out here. Do your husbands help you in certain things? Kind of, do you get aid from your husbands? Kind of. So helpmeet goes both ways. Just because it says that, you know, the woman was made as a helpmeet, men, we need to step up and to help our wives as well. All right, again, scripture, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels.
So it says, a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. So a wise man or woman will seek counsel. Or if I was to flip it, an unwise person would not seek counsel. So again, what is it that would make someone afraid to seek counsel? Because counsel is not someone telling you what to do, it's giving you advice. If I'm going to a deacon to get advice about something, that doesn't mean that deacon is controlling my life. It means I'm going to seek counsel. Now, it's still up to me whether or not I choose to listen to that counsel, but it would be foolish for me not to get counsel on a matter that they have information on. Does that make sense? Next scripture, the book of Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7. Again, we're talking about, seeking counsel, right?
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Most High with all thy heart, and lean not on thy own understanding.
So again, shouldn't be leaning on our own understanding. Like I mentioned earlier, trusting in the Most High also means trusting in his ministers. Those that he's put in place to lead you, to guide you, to give you wisdom. Read.
Verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes.
Be not wise in thine own eyes. Because again, normally in the courting process, your eyes are blinded anyway. The things there might be certain things or qualities in a person that you don't see, or you might be willing to ignore, once again, because you think that he or she is cute, or because, you know, he or she is nice. But again, someone from the outside can give you counsel and say, hey, okay, well, you know, they might have this good quality, but did you see this? Do you know that they're like this? So don't be wise in your own eyes, or excuse me, be not wise in thine own eyes. Read.
Fear the Most High, and depart from evil.
And depart from evil. Again, because sometimes, a lot of time in the courting process, we're willing to overlook the evil in that person. But again, throughout the courting process, the first thing you should be doing is seeing if you're equally yoked, and seeing if that person is willing to serve the Most High. If that person is not willing to serve the Most High, then what evil are they going to bring into your spirit? Right? Again, next scriptures, the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 14. So again, we shouldn't be leaning on our own understanding. We should be seeking counsel and not ignoring the evils that we may see.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall.
So read that again.
Where no counsel is, the people fall.
So where there is no counsel, people fall. So again, like I mentioned earlier, it's actually unwise to not seek counsel. This is why a lot of times people in the body are falling into temptations. They're falling into sin. They're falling into all different types of things that they could have stayed away from if they simply sought counsel first. Now, obviously, we're talking about, you know, through marriage and courting, but this goes for all things. In all things, you should seek counsel. Read.
But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
So again, just like our protocols say, the point of counsel is to protect the safety and sanctity of the individual. So it says again, what?
Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitudes of counselors, there is safety.
In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So sometimes you might have to get counsel on something more than once. Sometimes you might have to get counsel from more than one person just to get the correct understanding. Because like I said, not everyone's walk is the same. Not everyone's past is the same. Not everyone's learning is the same. There might be things I can learn from Deacon Terroir that a Deacon Athad might not have that understanding on, or vice versa. Or on just a brother-to-brother level, there might be things I might be able to learn from a Tazawan that it might be an experience that the deacons haven't gone through yet. But again, there's different type of counsel that you can get, but you should always seek counsel from someone that has been there before. Khan? All right, moving on. Go to the book of Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 6, verses 7 through 8. So now we're in the Apocrypha. Is everyone here familiar with the Apocrypha? Khan? All right. All right. Again, the book of Sirach, chapter 6, verses 7 through 8. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 7. If thou wouldst get us a friend, prove him first.
All right, so pause. It says if you're going to get a friend, that means you're going to go out and have to say, this person's going to be my new best buddy. You need to do what?
Prove him first.
You need to prove him first. So if you have to prove someone to be a friend, someone that you just, occasionally hang out with, how much more important is it that you need to prove someone that you're going to spend your life with, someone that you're going to make a covenant with? Khan? Read.
And be not hasty to credit him.
And you shouldn't be quick to give them credit. You again, overlooking the evil. A lot of times we get into a new courting situation, or we see someone new, and we're quick to say, oh, that brother or sister is so nice. He always holds the door open for me. Like, and that's the only good thing you got to say about that person. They always hold the door open. That's real sweet. Like, that's not enough proof. I need more than that. Huh? Read.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion, and will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
So it says, for some man is a friend for his own occasion. Again, what intentions does that person have in courting you? Sometimes there could be people that come in here to our church, or that have been amongst the body, that their whole goal is just to be amongst the body so they can find a husband or a wife. You know that people do that? People go to church. Again, in the world, that was a saying that was known. Hey, if you want to go get a good woman, go to church. And then that's it. They would go to church to find a woman. Once they get a woman, they stop going to church. Do you think that it's not possible for that to happen here? Do you think it's not possible for an Israelite to come into the body to find those that are single, and then once they end up laying with that person, now we don't see that person anymore? Does that not happen? It does, and it can continue to happen unless we see it and put a stop to it. But again, that wouldn't happen at all if we, again, sought counsel and if we proved that person first. What are you really doing here? What is your walk really like? I should be able to see your walk with the Most High before I decide to enter into a covenant with you. Khan? All right, next scripture comes from the book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 1. And also throughout that trying process and proving process, I need to see you go through something bad. Like, I need to know how you act in time of trouble. Because it's easy to see someone, okay, that person's always good, they're always nice. But hey, how does that person act when the fire comes? How does that person act when they see that I'm down? Or how does that person act when they're down? If that person is again coming into the Shabbat, and they're always in a joyful spirit, but then the next time that you hear that they're going through something, they stop coming to the Shabbat just because they're going through. Okay, so now that's letting me know, that's proving, that's me trying the spirit and proving, okay, when they go through something, they want to pull away. Is that the type of person I want to be into a marriage with? If we go through something now in a marriage and you're upset with me, are you going to pull away from me? Because you do it to the body.
How do you resolve conflict?
That's what you're checking on. All right, read. Again, we're at 1 John chapter 4, verse 1.
The book of 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit.
Because you can't believe everybody. Just because they're an Israelite, just because they call the name of the Most High, there's a lot of us that are struggling with a lot of things. Read.
but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High.
So just like we said, we need to try the spirit to see what their walk is really like. Read.
Because many false prophets are going out into the world.
So again, just like I said earlier, you're trying the spirit and proving them that they personally have a walk and they personally have a desire to serve the Most High. A lot of times, again, we probably have heard couples maybe that they've been in the world and then one of them comes and finds the truth and then they just pull the other one in. Now, can that happen and that can end up being a good thing? Yes, it can. But if you're two people amongst the body and you know that you personally have a spiritual growth and spiritual development and spiritual walk with the Most High, and the person that you're seeking to court, their walk isn't equal to yours or at least closely similar, that could cause a discourse. Because they could look at you some type of way, or you could look at them some type of way at their walk. And again, it's not saying that you guys have to be even, but again, throughout the courting process, you have to see if that's something that if you're okay with, you're comfortable with. Does that make sense? The next scripture, go to the book of Tobit, chapter 8, verses 6 through 7. So again, we're talking about trying the spirit, seeking counsel first, then trying the spirit to make sure that that person has an upright walk with the Most High. And if that person is equally fit to be with you, or vice versa. Because a lot of times, what if you're not good for that person? You need to take that into account. If you know what your struggles are, and you see someone else and you know that they might be weak in something that you occasionally deal in, why would you put that burden on someone else? For example, if I know someone, if I know that I'm a hothead, if I know I'm someone that I'm struggling with a temper problem, would it be wise for me to court someone that is easily offended? No. So that's, now, am I going to get hurt in that process? No, but I'm thinking about the other person's sanctity as well. I might need to work on myself before I involve myself with that individual to save them.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 8, verse 6. Thou madest Adam and gavest him Eve his wife for a helper and stay.
For a what?
For a helper and stay.
So again, like I said, the purpose of one of the purposes of marriage is to help. You're looking for a help me. That's why Eve was created, to help Adam. But like I said earlier as well, that goes back and forth. The men should also help the spouses. Whoever you're with or spending your time with, that person should edify you, should grow you, should make you want to be a better person. Again, this is another concept or thought in the world. There's every interaction that you have with someone else is going to do one of two things. Either my interaction with you is going to make me a better person, or it's going to make me a worse person. There's no such thing as stagnant. Nobody in your life keeps you the same. Everyone is either building something up in you or they're breaking you down. And that building up can just simply come from encouraging you or keeping you on the right track. That breaking you down can be literally verbally beating you down or just allowing you to fail. Do you want to be with someone that's going to allow you to fail? No, you should want to be with someone that's going to continue to lift you up. Read.
Of them came mankind, and thou hast said, it is not good that man should be alone. Mm-hmm. Let us make unto him an aid.
An aid, which is a help.
Like unto himself. Verse 7, and now, O Lord, I take not this, my sister, for lust, but uprightly.
So again, we shouldn't be looking for a spouse out of lust. You should be looking to take a spouse uprightly. Someone that, again, like I said, is going to uplift you and walk righteously with you. Because while looks fade, that lustful desire that you have for that individual, I like the way I like your eyes. You know, they have beautiful eyes. Eyes sag later on. you gonna get some bags underneath your eyes, all right? And again, it could be a multitude of things. I like his biceps. He works out a lot. Trust me, he's gonna get weak soon. Okay? Those biceps will turn into mush eventually. All right? Read.
Take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly. Therefore mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
Because you should strive to become aged together. So again, when you're looking at an individual, don't look at them as how they are right now. Look at them as an aged person. How is this person going to look or act when we're old? Because typically we're all gonna change in some fashion or form. So you should be looking in for the spirit of that individual. And I give credit to a lot of our women, because a lot of times why you see a lot of women with, I would say, spiritually immature men is because they can see where that man's going to mature at later. They see certain qualities in men that, okay, he's immature now, but I can see in time he's going to grow and develop. So that's a level of discernment that a lot of women have about us. But we need to take that concept into all things. Men, we need to do the same things. We need to look at a woman, okay, if she's immature now, is that going to change? If she's acting like this now, how is she going to act once we have children? How is she going to act once we fight? How is she going to act? How is he going to act if I get sick? You need to be thinking about the future in all things when it comes to courtship. Kind? Next scripture, going to the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 21. Again, because marriage it should be a lifelong covenant. So you shouldn't be thinking short term. You should be thinking long term. How is this person going to treat me 5, 10 years from now? What type of life experiences is this person going to go through? Are we going to go through together 5, 10 years from now? And how are they going to act? How are they going to respond? Again, the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 21.
Sirach, chapter 25, verse 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure.
So again, just like I said, we shouldn't be stumbling at the beauty of a woman, or a man for that matter, because those things are temporary. That is a temporary pleasure, a temporary desire. Okay? I'm giving a stupid example. And I got eczema. Okay? I itch sometimes. Okay? But so is anyone else struggle with that? Eczema doesn't even matter. Has anybody had an itch? Period. No, you don't have to have eczema. But if you got eczema, you know that's a serious itch. But if you've had an itch, have you ever, obviously once you scratch it, it feels good, right? It's a temporary relief. Now for those of you who have eczema though, you know that if you scratch that itch, it gets worse. So you gave in to that temporary pleasure, but at what cost? So think about sin the same way. Think about laying down with someone the same way. You might give in for a temporary pleasure, but at what cost? Next scripture, going to the book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 25.
The book of Sirach, chapter 7, verse 25. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding.
So, women, should you be looking for a man just because he's got a nice car, because he's got a good job? You know, again, because he looks nice, because he smiles? You know, you should be looking for a man of understanding. A wise man. A man that knows the will of the Most High and is seeking to live that type of life. Because in the end, that's going to be the type of man that's going to protect you. That's going to be the type of man that's going to provide for you. That's going to be the man that's going to lead you into a righteous lifestyle. And again, men, it should be the same thing. Because a lot of our women have a lot of understanding. They have a lot of wisdom. There's that, again, that spiritual help that comes from our women, from our wives. So that should be the type of woman that we should want. We should want a woman of understanding. Because if you're with a man or woman that's not in these scriptures, what are they into? Where are they going to lead you to? Come. Say it again. Hell. That's exactly what they're going to lead you to. Because there can only be this whole concept, again, a worldly concept that people have, a marriage is 50-50. I'm going to speak for myself. There's no such thing as a 50-50 in a relationship. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be something that y'all don't agree on. Somebody has to take control. So if you're with a man or a woman that's not in the scriptures, now it can simply be an argument on who's going to get that 51%. Like that alone in itself is an argument, which can snowball into a whole bunch of other arguments. And I'm using the word argument, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be that big. But it can be anything that leads you astray. Again, because if both of you, though, follow this book, if you have this as a guide, even if you're the person that has the 49%, our women should not be afraid to yield if they know that we're following this. Because they know that we're never going to lead them astray. Con? So that leaves, again, what type of relationships should we avoid now? Okay? So now we know what type of women and men that we should look to. But again, seeking counsel, what type of relationship should we avoid? So once again, just go ahead and yell it out. Somebody tell me the type of relationship that we should avoid. What you said? Somebody said abusive, kind, lustful. If it's strictly built on lust, yep. Gossipy, talking too much, not silent. Sinful, right? Now, all those things that we mentioned, if their personal walk was following these scriptures, they wouldn't lead that type of lifestyle, right? So we should, go ahead and read that commentary.
What type of relationship should we avoid? Marriages to anyone that will weaken your walk with the Most High.
So keep that in mind. The Most High does not want us to marry anyone that is going to weaken our walk with Him. Read.
The main reason Israel was commanded not to marry with other nations is because the other nations worship other gods.
So that's the main reason. All right, we're going to go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 2, and we're going to get some understanding.
Everybody at 1 Kings, say Khan. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 2. Of the nations concerning which the Most High said unto the children of Israel.
So hold on. Of the nations, the word nations, everyone knows what that word nations means there, right? Gentile. Okay? Read. Gentile meaning non-Israelite. Read.
Of the nations concerning which the Most High said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in unto them.
Meaning you should not have intercourse, you should not lay down with.
Neither shall they come in unto you.
Mm-hmm.
For surely.
So pause. So if we stop right there, we just know that the scripture says that we should not be with other nations. Con? Everyone sees that. And I'm sure most of us in here have known that and heard that, right? But continue reading. It said the word for in the scriptures also can be translated to the word because. So if the Most High is going to give us a law, He gives us a reason behind the law. That's why Christ came, because a lot of times in the people in the Old Testament, they knew the law, the letter of the law, but that's not enough. You need to understand the spirit, the reason behind the law. Read.
For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods.
They will do what?
They will turn away your heart after their gods.
So it's because they would, typically Gentiles would turn an Israelite's heart away from the Most High. Right? Read.
Solomon clave unto these in love.
And then he gave an example of King Solomon that did that. King Solomon was an Israelite. He married Gentiles, and his heart was turned away into worshiping other gods. So what's the emphasis in this scripture, though? Is the emphasis to not have interracial marriages? Is that the emphasis? Go ahead, somebody, talk to me, saints. That's not the emphasis, right? The emphasis is anyone, Gentile or Israelite, that is going to turn you away into servicing other gods. Because what good is it if you're going to say, okay, I'm not going to be with the Gentile, I'm only going to marry Israelites, but that Israelite is calling on the Tetragrammaton? Was that better? Because I'm a Judah, so I'm only going to stay with Judah, but this Judah's calling on another God. Is that still righteous? Is that what the Most High wants us to do? La'ah. So we're going to, again, anyone that knows the scripture, has read and studied the scriptures, were multiple Israelites, righteous men, that married Gentiles. Go to the book of Numbers, chapter 12. And again, I'm not giving anybody a license to go out and seek marrying another tribe or another nation. But again, we're going to get the understanding of what the Most High his intentions were in making the law.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses.
So they did what?
Spake against Moses.
So they talked bad about Moses and tried to condemn him. Why?
Because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married.
Because of the Gentile that he married. Now, was Moses not a righteous man? Huh? But didn't we just read in scripture that you're not supposed to marry someone of another nation? And didn't he write that? But he married an Egyptian woman, right? So are we going to now mock or condemn Moses for doing that? That's what Miriam and Aaron did. Jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them.
So the Most High was angry with Miriam and Aaron because they tried to speak against Moses in his marriage, right? Read.
And he departed. Verse 10. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle. And behold, Miriam became leprous.
She did what?
Became leprous, white as snow.
So isn't that essentially looking like a Gentile anyway? That's a whole nother topic. Go ahead, read.
And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly.
They've done what?
We have done foolishly.
Say it again.
Foolishly.
So they've done foolishly to speak against the marriage that the Most High gave Moses. Read.
And wherein we have sinned.
And there was a what?
We have sinned.
And they sinned. Well, now, part of the sin was simply speaking out against a prophet of the Most High. That was the real sin, because it's blasphemy to speak against the Spirit of the Most High, and the Spirit was on Moses. But it's still also showing that the reason for not marrying Gentiles was simply because you want to be equally yoked with someone that is serving the Most High. Okay? Again, another example. Go to the book of Ruth, chapter 1. And once again, I'm going to, keep making this disclaimer. This is not a license to seek out someone of a different nation. But there's a lot of times in our body where different saints come into this truth at different levels of understanding. So am I going to look down or mock or talk bad about a couple that comes in without this knowledge? If an interracial couple comes into our body, are we going to naturally try to nullify their marriage? Nullify that the fact that the Most High put them together? Read.
The book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 2. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife, Naomi, and the name of his two sons, Malon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. Verse 3. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her two sons.
So again, I know those names are big. Israelites went to the land of Moab. Read.
Verse 4. And they took them wives of women
read.
And they took them wives of women of Moab.
So Israelite men went to the land of Moab and did what?
Took them wives of the women of Moab.
So in Moab, is that an Israelite country or a Gentile country? So the people there, are they Israelites or are they Gentiles? Read.
The name of one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth, and they dwelled there about 10 years.
So once again, this is an example of Israelites marrying Gentiles. Okay, we're going to see if this was, what was the Gentiles' mindset. That's what we're going to get to. Jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15, and
because I jumped, let me tell you the story of what happened. So Elimelech and both of his sons died. Okay, so the Israelite family, they went to Moab. His sons took Gentiles' daughters, but then both Elimelech and both of his sons died. So now all that was left was Naomi, which is an Israelite woman, and her two daughter-in-laws, which were both Gentiles. Okay, one Orpah and the other was Ruth. Read.
And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is going back unto her people and unto her God.
So one of the sisters, which was Orpah, she did what? Read it again.
Thy sister-in-law is going back unto her people and unto her God.
Unto her people and to her gods. So this also is showing that we should be married, or in a marriage, your walk is personal. So even if a Gentile, whether Gentiles or Israelites, it doesn't matter. If you're in this relationship, or if you're in this walk serving the Most High, just because your spouse wants you to serve the Most High, what happens if your spouse passes away? Are you now then going to go back into the world? No, this is showing that your walk with the Most High is personal. Regardless of who you're married to, each of us has an individual walk. So, again, you personally, you should want to serve the Most High. And you should not want to be with someone that's serving the Most High just because you told them to. Read.
And Ruth said, verse 16, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. Mm-hmm. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy power my power.
And what?
And thy power my power.
So the Gentile was seeking outside of her husband to serve the Most High. The Gentile outside of her husband was seeking to serve the Most High. So should Naomi or the Israelite cast her away? Well, no, you can't serve the Most High. No, she's still seeking to do what is right. Is the kingdom just for Israelites? No, the kingdom is for all men and women that seek to serve the Most High, right? So let no man tear down what the Most High put together, right? So again, the whole purpose is to understand the spirit that the Most High had behind the law. The spirit was to not be involved with anyone, Gentile or Israelite, that's going to weaken your walk with the Most High or make you serve another God. Again, but in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7. Get a comment when you're there. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 3 through 4.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
So again, we're referring to marriage, it's giving. So they're not even speaking to the individuals here, they're speaking to the parents. The parents should not give their daughters or their sons in marriage to those of other nation. Read.
Verse 4. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods.
So once again, we see the reason is because they would serve other gods. But again, this is referring to talking to parents, of Israelite parents. Don't give your son or daughter away, but that is again showing you that marriage is a covenant not just between the man and the woman. It's a covenant between families. So it's not a private matter. It's a family matter. So all people are involved in the decision and the choice. Read.
So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly.
All right, go to the book of Numbers, chapter 36. So again, I'm going to show you that it's not a private matter, but it's a family situation. So the first reason why we were warned to stay away from interracial marriages or marrying Gentiles was because of their worship to other gods. But the other reason was, and because of our inheritance. And again, so we're going to see again why the scripture was talking to the parents and what the parents should be seeking for to protect. Again, the book of Numbers, chapter 36, we're going to read verses 6 and 7.
The book of Numbers, chapter 36, verse 6. This is the thing which the Most High doeth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry. So this is saying, what was it saying? Okay, go ahead, read. Verse 7. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. So it says, so shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. So it was also speaking about keeping the inheritance or the lot or the monies in Israel. Because we know Israel, we were meant to be over the other nations. So if I have a son, and if I'm a king and I'm wealthy, and I want to give my inheritance to my son, but then I have my son, and I want to keep that lineage in my family, but then my son marries a Gentile, and then, again, going on, and then there's a male seed that comes out of that, is where is my inheritance? My inheritance is going out of Israel now, right? They're going to take that inheritance back to their land. But Israel is supposed to be above all nations, so we need to keep that inheritance and that lot in Israel. So that was, again, the reason or the spirit behind the law of keeping or staying away from marrying other nations. It wasn't just because the other nations were evil or, I mean, they were because of certain other gods, but not all people, not all Gentiles are evil. You get my point? The next scripture is coming from the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 14. But again, but just through those scriptures and those precepts, I wanted to make sure that everyone had that understanding. So, again, Israelites, we should not seek those of another nation, but we're also not supposed to speak down against those that are of other nations. Khan? Does anyone disagree with that? All right. The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. So again, because we know the New Testament, we brought the understanding. That's what Christ did in the whole New Testament. He was to bring the understanding or the spirit behind the law. So now we're in the New Testament, and again, what does it say? Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. With Gentiles. With unbelievers. Those of another nation. With unbelievers. So that's the key. It's unbelievers. Anyone that does not believe in following the Most High. That's the point. Read. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? Because what point is there? That's only going, like you can tell you what, that's going to lead y'all both straight to hell. Somebody, that's where y'all are leading. What fellowship does righteousness have with unrighteousness? So you should be seeking someone that is willing to serve the Most High in the same capacity that you are. Read. And what communion have light with darkness? And what communion have light with darkness? So again, that goes for Israelites and Gentiles alike. Okay? So that goes into
to not being with someone that's not in the fold. Why would you want to be with a man or woman that is not of this understanding? So even if they're an Israelite, but they're not in the truth, they're still a Gentile in the mind, are they not? So that's the same aspect. All right, the next scripture is coming from the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 16. Again, going back to the Apocrypha, cut a couple more precepts out of there.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman.
So, the men, look, it's better. Read that again.
I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman.
You know how dangerous it is to be in a house with a wicked man or a wicked woman? That's a danger to your soul. The scripture said, I would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked man or woman. Because that wicked man or woman is not going to just destroy your body. It could potentially destroy your soul. The type of things that they're going to be teaching you or saying to you or bringing into your home, what spirit are they bringing around you? So that's what you need to protect yourself from. Okay? Move over to one scripture, go to Sirach chapter 26, verse 23. Still in the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 23.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
So I want to pause right here, because a lot of times you'll hear a brother or sister say, again, in the world, oh, I don't want to deal, or they might be in a relationship and then they break off the relationship because they'll say, oh man, I can't be with her no more, she's wicked. Or she'll say, I can't be with him anymore, he's wicked. But what the scripture is saying?
A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man.
So a wicked woman is given to a wicked man. So if you're with a man or a woman and you're calling them wicked, you were wicked too for being with them. Like the Most High gave you that person because of the things that more than likely that you were dealing with. And I will speak for as an example. For those of you that don't know, I was married before. And I was married to a wicked woman. I'm not speaking bad on her. I'm saying that myself, in my old lifestyle, I was a wicked man. And my portion for living wickedly was a wicked woman. So I'm not speaking bad on her or anything like that. I'm acknowledging and seeing the wickedness in myself and not being mad at what the Most High gave me. That was that was just, was it not? So for for brothers and sisters that have said and or do say that, think about yourself. That should be a self-reflection. If you see something evil or wicked in your spouse, reflect on yourself. What am I doing to cause that to come out? Even when I came up here a couple weeks and cried, trying to make my statement, whatever I was trying to say, when I was saying that our men and women, or our husbands rather, you need to pray for your women, because with anything that they're going through it because of you. Because you have the power to pray over them, to heal them, to restore them. The things that they might be struggling with, the Most High might have made them struggle with it because of your sin, because of your transgressions. Continue, because there's a flip side.
But a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
So once again, I'm an example of this as well. I changed my life. I became a godly man, and the Most High gave me a godly woman. All praise to the Most High for that. Thank you. Yes. So the Most High is just in all his judgments. So, but in all things, you need to reflect on yourself and what you're doing before and not be quick in haste to make judgment about another person. So now, what do we do when you find a good spouse? Now we're moving forward. You went through the courting phase. You sought counsel about who you want to court. Then you tried the spirit. Then now you got the families involved and the family's blessings, and now you both want to you have made a covenant together to both live righteously, to both serve the Most High. So now, what's next? Okay? Yeah, read just that paragraph, or just a little commentary.
How should we go about getting married? Just because you lay down with someone, that doesn't mean that you're married. That's just fornication. Marriage is an agreement between families.
So again, this is another Israelite concept that a lot of Israelites have. They'll say, hey, y'all have laid down together, y'all are married. That is not scripture. That is not specifically what that says. Okay, we're going to get this understanding. Because a lot of men will use that to deceive women. They'll go and lay down with the sister and then try to trap her and say, oh, well, look, we're married now. That's it. Okay? We're going to go to the book of Tobit first and get that scripture first. So the book of Tobit, chapter 7, verse 13. But the point, I will say, sex does not equal marriage. Okay? There is a protocol and a procedure to the process.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7, verse 13. Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand and gave her to be wife to Tobias, saying, behold, take after the law of Moses and lead her away to thy father.
So the first part of it is that the father needs to be involved. So if a man is seeking to marry a woman, he needs to go to the father. Read.
And he blessed them.
And look for his blessings. Read.
And called Edna his wife, and took paper and did write an instrument of covenants.
Right. What did he write?
An instrument of covenants.
A contract?
An instrument of covenants.
A marriage license?
An instrument of covenants.
A covenant. Read.
And sealed it.
And sealed it. So again, the marriage is a covenant not just between a man and a woman, but between families. It's two families agreeing to pledge to their children or the individual to each other in a union together. So that is part of the marriage. It's not that is an essential part of the marriage. Without that, just laying down in itself is not equate to marriage. Does that make sense? Again, to add on more, go to the book of Exodus, chapter 22. The book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16. If a man entice a maid,
so if a man lays down with the woman,
that is not betrothed,
that is not engaged,
and lie with her,
okay,
he shall surely,
and he said what?
He shall surely,
is shall future tense, past tense, or present? Shall is what? Hey, what do you say? Wake up, brother. No. Hey, he shall is future tense. So read it again.
He shall,
which means he's not yet,
surely endow her to be his wife.
So he shall endow her to be his wife. So they've already laid down together, but now it says that they shall be wife, which means they need to go through the process, through the procedure of becoming man and wife. Not just because now we've already laid down, we're man and woman. There's a process and a procedure that you need to go through. Read.
Verse 17. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins.
So again, there needs to be a dowry put in place. He needs to go to the father, just like we read back in Tobit. But again, the emphasis and point that I'm bringing out is that it's more than just laying down. Because again, I know that's another mindset or concept that is taught throughout the Israelite community. And that in itself is again going back to the mindset that people have when it comes to marriage. Are they trying to get into a contract with that person so that they can receive something? Next scripture, going to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Read 28 through 29. Again, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 28 through 29.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found.
My bad, Salaki, I do like that wrong. 22. I do have faults, y'all. I'm sorry.
22 verse 22, 28.
Oh, I'm okay, yeah, that's it.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife.
And once again, she shall be his wife. Read.
Because he have humbled her, he may not put her away all his days.
So again, we see the edifying of the scripture. So for throughout the courting process, there's a fall, as in which again, because again we read through the protocols throughout the courting process. There is not supposed to be any intimacy, right? The reason why there's not supposed to be any intimacy is because during that stage you should be just trying the spirit to make sure that person is equally yoked with you in the spirit, and that you guys are going to be a good fit, jointly fitted together. But if you do slip up and fall into that temptation, now there's a next procedure that shall take place. And now that procedure is that you shall go through the protocols of getting married. And again, that's what the scriptures tell us to do. Kind? So, if you do go through those procedures, you do go through, the protocols of getting married. That is a good thing. Kind? Again, give credit to the brother, Sister and James Crawford, or Sister and Brother Crawford, Salakia. 13 years, that is a wonderful thing. I'm going to give y'all a round of applause. So that's a righteous union. That's a covenant that they've made together. They weren't looking for loopholes to try to escape. They've made a covenant and agreement together. Brought beautiful children into the world. That's what we should strive to do. So now once that happens, what are the roles and responsibilities of each person? What are the roles and responsibilities of a husband and wife? There's something that I taught my son. I'm gonna put him on the spot, see if he remembers it, because I've said it in a while. What is something, or excuse me, what's a man supposed to do? Come up here and say it. I did not tell him this morning, so hopefully he gets it right. What's a man supposed to do? It's 3 words.
Protect, provide, and lead by example.
He would have been in so much trouble if he... But seriously, this is what we need to all teach our young men. That's what the scripture says. The scripture doesn't use those exact words, but we're going to get the scripture and understand it. But a man should look to protect his wife and his children, provide for them, and lead by example. All right? And a woman should support her husband in all things. Those are the roles and responsibilities of each individual. To get this understanding, we're going to the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verses 22 through 31. Salakia. Again, the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verses 22 through 31. We're about halfway through, so I'm going to start running. Like I said, there's a lot of precepts.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Most High.
So when I made the statement earlier, there's no 50-50. I call it 51-49, okay? But wives should not have a problem submitting yourselves to your husbands as long as your husbands are keeping to the Most High. You should have no fear being submissive to your husband because your husband is submissive to the Most High. Read.
Verse 23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church.
So that's the order that the Most High put in place. So it's not like the man is saying over, I want control, I want to be the head. No, that's the order that the Most High put in place. Read.
And he is the Savior of the body. Verse 24, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be subject to their own husbands in everything.
In few things.
In everything.
In just matters of the household.
In everything.
In everything. So, wives, women that are looking to be wives, that's your role is to be submissive in all things. Does that? I'm not a woman. I don't know what that feels like. That's not what the role the Most High put on me. So I'm hoping though that again you can take that and again be comfortable in that, knowing that that man is serving the Most High. And when I say I can't understand that what it means to be submissive in everything, but there's also an order in leadership. So when it comes to leadership in a church, there are deacons and bishops and elders over us that even as men, we need to be submissive to the deacons, the leaders, the bishops, and the elders in everything. So it doesn't matter. So I don't have to agree with a call that comes down from a bishop or elder or a deacon. I just have to be submissive to that. And I know I don't have a problem with that because I know that bishop, deacon, and elder is following the Most High. Con? So that's the closest thing. So we kind of sort of understand what y'all feel like.
I was going to say, I can actually help. Actually, we can understand because we have to be submissive unto Christ and everything. So
we get it. We get it. All right. But we're going to flip it now. Men, verse 25.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church.
So husbands, our turn now. We need to love our wives. And how do we need to love them?
Even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it.
So Christ gave himself for the church. So what was the first thing that my son said? We need to protect, right? So we need to love our wives so much that we would need to give ourselves away to the service to the service of the Most High, but to the benefit of our spouse. Now, that for men, that might sound hard because you need to give up everything if it means pleasing your spouse. That's what the scriptures tell us to do. It's not hard. It's not hard. You should be willing to sacrifice whatever it takes to please your spouse. Because if you do that, I promise you she's going to do it too. There's enough. Yeah, time, definitely. So there's another thing that I say for when it comes to counseling wives or excuse me, couples. I'll just say couples. It's two words: love and respect. I feel like everything in a relationship comes down to just those two words: love and respect. More so specifically, men need to love their wives unconditionally. Doesn't matter how she makes you feel. Doesn't matter what she said. Doesn't matter what she did. In all things, treat her and show her the love that she needs. Because she doesn't just want it, she needs it. And women, doesn't matter what he said. Doesn't matter what he did. Respect your husbands. Doesn't matter if you feel like he's going off or if he's doing wrong. Always give him the respect he needs. Because he doesn't just want it, he needs it. And normally in most relationships that I've seen, when there's a break in communication, it boils down to one of those two things. The woman stops respecting her husband because she doesn't feel loved. Or the husband stops loving the wife because he doesn't feel respected. But again, when you're in a covenant of marriage, you're not in it to receive anything. So it doesn't matter if I'm receiving the respect. I still am going to give love because I pledged to do that. My wife, it doesn't matter if I'm giving her the love that she wants, because she pledged to treat me with respect. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I went off on my own tangent right there.
Makes sense, brother.
All right, go give me a 26, Slocky.
Verse 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing by the water of the word, that he might present to it himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Verse 28, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies.
As your own bodies. So again, how much love do you have for yourself and your own desires and your own wants and your needs and the things that your body needs? That's just as much love that you need to give to your wives, husbands. Read.
He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it.
And nourish and cherish it. So some of us men need to know what it means to nourish and cherish our wives. Read.
Even as the Lord, the church. Verse 30. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh.
Because you together are one. So again, if that love and respect is there, you're going to both treat each other as one body, one member. You're going to work together in unison. All right? Next scripture is coming from the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. I definitely need to speed up. The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verses 1 and 2.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
So, once again, going back to the wives being submissive. And again, the context of it, though, was the reason why women should be okay with that because the man's following this. But what if he doesn't? What if wives, you're in a situation where you know you're the wife, so you're supposed to be submissive, but you don't think that your husband is operating in the right capacity? Does that now give you the reason or the right to not be submissive? No. The scripture's going to tell you what to do. Read.
That, if any obey not the word.
So if your husband's not obeying the word, read.
They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Verse 2. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
So women, you have power even without using the scriptures. You can win over your husbands just throughout your chaste conversation. Just by you being that loving, helpful wife, you can still get him to do the things that he needs to do. Does that make sense? So again, you never have to beat your husband over the head because he's going out of line. If a husband is going out of line, that's not the woman's job to correct him. The Most High will correct him in time. Same thing for men. Just because the Most High has given us dominion over our households, you don't need to rule your household like a tyrant. If your wife is getting out of line, that's not your place to get her in place. The Most High will do it. Now, you can obviously still both use scriptures to correct and edify each other, but I can't force my wife into subjection. And my wife can't force me to be a leader. The Most High is going to instill both of those aspects in both of us. Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
So husbands, you need to deal with your wives according to knowledge. What kind of knowledge? The knowledge of the scriptures. And not just knowledge of the scriptures, a lot just common sense. We need to operate, I'm not going to say common sense. We need to operate wisely with our wives. And I'm going to say why.
Giving honor to the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
So we need to give honor and think wisely or act wisely with our wives as the weaker vessel. And it's not talking about just weaker as far as physical, but it's also emotionally as well. Our women, they're just naturally, the Most High gave them deeper or stronger feeling emotions than men. That sometimes, not always, sometimes clouds their judgment. So we need to us being wise. We need to take that into we need to know that and not deal with them in a certain way because they get in their emotions. We can step back. Okay, look, I'm not saying that you need to tell her that she's in her feelings, but you don't do that. That's not being wise.
Just listen.
Yeah, you and yourself know. Okay, this is one of those times where I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let this pass. Okay. Trust. It's not wise for you to tell them that they're in their feelings. Don't do that. All right. Read.
And being, Salakia, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
Read that again. Read all verse 7 again.
Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
So husbands, not honoring your wife can hinder your own prayers. Do you see that? All right, flipping over. All right, give me the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Again, we're getting into talk about the roles and responsibilities of husband and wife.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. If any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
So now we're talking about, again, for a man to provide. Okay? So we learned you need to protect. You need to protect them physically and spiritually. So it's a man's job to protect your household spirit, and you also need to provide for them. You know, if a man is not willing to go out to work, again, brothers, let me know if I get my Bishop Hannah on. I mean, but that's a serious thing. Okay, you need husbands, men. We need to do all that we can to provide for our spouses, for our households. Okay, and the lead portion was because because we are the head of our household, so that's the lead. Okay, because we're short on time, I was going to read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, 1 through 15. Bring it up. All right, read it fast, bro. Read it. Read it.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 1 through 15.
You might not be there, but you're going to read it.
Now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
So if you're not married, it's okay. Read.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
But if you have that burning desire, you need to go through the protocols. Read.
Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife.
So once again, like I was reading earlier, when you're in a marriage, in a relationship, in a covenant between man and husband and wife, you're not in the relationship so you can receive, it's so you can give. So if your husband has desires that he needs fulfilled or wants fulfilled, women, you should do that, and vice versa. Read.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may also give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn.
So now we're going to start getting into the punishments, okay? That's going to come out in a minute. But it's better to marry than it is to burn. Read.
Verse 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. But and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife.
So if you are both in this truth, if you both have this understanding, divorce is not an option. Again, that's a contract mindset. You're looking for a way to break a contract, but a marriage is not a contract, it's a covenant. you pledged and promised your lives to each other. You shouldn't be looking for a way out. Read.
Verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother have a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
So I know earlier I made the statement saying that I used to be married. I'm not a hypocrite. We're going to read. I fell into this situation.
But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother have a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which have a husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him.
So if you are a brother or sister that is married to an unbeliever, it doesn't matter whether you were married before, y'all just got married, but if you were married to an unbeliever, just because you're in this truth now doesn't mean you should go run and get a divorce, or you should run and get a separation. If that man or woman is pleased to dwell with you, then y'all stay married. Read.
For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now they are holy. But if the unbelieving depart,
so again, you should stay with that unbeliever for the sanctity of one. You being saved could potentially save their soul, and if you have children together, that's you potentially are still you have another soul that you are temporarily responsible for. So again, if you're married to an unbeliever, you should stay married as long as they are willing to stay married. Okay, but if you are single, you should not be courting an unbeliever. Read.
15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but the Most High have called us to peace.
But again, the scenario, circumstance. If the unbelieving departs, if they leave, if they seek absolution or not absolution, if they seek to dissolve the marriage, then you are not under bondage in that case. Okay. So if you're both in the truth, divorce should never be in the conversation. There should always be room for forgiveness and reconciliation. Next scripture is the book of Romans, chapter 7, verses 1 through 3.
The book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law.
So again, this is specifically talking to those who are in the truth, those that know the law. Read.
How that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loosed from the law of her husband. So then if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
So again, so do we have that understanding? So if you're, again, those that know the law, if you are married, the only thing that separates y'all is death. And again, I know people come to the next thing, well, what about adultery, right? Adultery is a sin, right? So if your spouse steps out and commits the act of adultery, legally, technically, do you have the right to seek for a divorce? According to the scripture, yes, you do. But again, what mindset did you enter into that marriage, if that's what your thought process is? Did you enter into that marriage with a contract mindset? Were you looking, this is my opportunity to break that? Or are you going to give your spouse the opportunity to repent? Because not only did that person sin against you, but most importantly, they sinned against the Most High. So you separating from them, they have a bigger thing to deal with. They still got to deal with the Most High. But the Most High is willing to forgive. So if the Most High is willing to forgive, why wouldn't you? Obviously, if that person is willing to repent. If they're not willing to repent and they're not trying to change, that's a whole other topic. All right, Matthew chapter 19, verse 3.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and he shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore, they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High have joined together, let not man put asunder.
So again, that's the same scripture I was referring to earlier when it talked about being married to Gentiles that believe. Read.
They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives.
So if you're looking for a loophole for a way out, that was instituted because of the hardness of your hearts. That means because you didn't have the heart to forgive your spouse for transgressions. Because I'm sure there's multiple transgressions. I don't want to say multiple, but there's other transgressions that your spouse commits other than adultery. But you're willing to forgive them for those. And again, the Most High is willing to forgive. Our expectations for our spouses cannot be higher than expectations than the Most High has for us. Read.
But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her, which is put away, doeth commit adultery.
So again, we see that there is you can seek divorcement due to adultery. But there's a punishment, which we're going to get to that, or go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Almost done, saints.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High?
So, throughout this whole lesson, we've been seeing what you should do, right? And what you should avoid. Ultimately, this whole thing is about marriage and courting, okay? And if you're looking to be married, or if you're looking to court and then be married, that means you're avoiding fornication and adultery. And we should be avoiding those things because there's severe punishments for that. Read.
Be not deceived, neither fornicators,
those that are having intercourse outside of marriage, intercourse outside of marriage.
Nor idolaters, nor adulterers,
those that are married and having intercourse with not their spouse.
Nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High. And such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord Yeshua and by the Spirit of our power.
All right, so now to get the judgments, again, has anyone, again, in the world heard anybody say, there's a special place in hell for you? Anybody heard people say that? Con? You know, there really is certain places in torments for certain sins. We're going to go to the Apocalypse of Paul to see the punishments for fornicators. That means those that are having intercourse outside of marriage. So again, I know we've been reading the scriptures and getting the edification, but we also need to be serious in understanding how serious the Most High views these types of sins. Con? So we're going to see the punishments for fornication and adultery. Again, go to the brother. I don't know if he was able to pull it up, but again, because on time, we're just going to read through it. If he's able to pull it up, then he can. So this is coming from the Apocalypse of Paul. We're going to read chapter 11. Follow this one because we're going to read the whole thing.
Apocalypse of Paul, chapter 11. Again, after these things, I saw one of the spiritual ones coming unto me, and he caught me up in the spirit, and carried me to the third heaven. And the angel answered and said unto me, Follow me, and I will show thee the place of the righteous, where they are taken when they are dead. And thereafter will I take thee to the bottomless pit, and show thee the souls of the sinners, and to what manner of place they are taken when they are dead.
So Paul, he was taken up into the third heaven, and the angel showed him the place where the righteous would be, and he also showed him where the sinners would be and what would happen to sinners. Huh? Don't worry about that one. start from right here.
The Apocalypse of Paul, chapter 31. And I saw there a river of fire burning with heat, and in it was a multitude of men and women sunk up to the knees, and other men up to the navel, others also up to the lips, and others up to the hair. And I asked the angel and said,
So Paul, again, being led by the angel, he saw men and women being basically in pools of fire. Some of the fire was up to their knees for some was up to their stomach, others up to their chest, others was up over their whole head. Read.
Lord, who are these in the river of fire? And the angel answered and said unto me, They are neither hot nor cold, for they were not found either in the number of the righteous or in the number of the wicked.
So we know the scripture says that, if in the book of Revelations, be ye neither hot nor cold, and the Most High will spew you out of your mouth. These people that are in torments, this is an example of someone that was hot or cold. You wasn't all the way for the Most High, but you all wasn't always sinning. Read.
For they passed the time of their life upon the earth, spending some days in prayer.
So some days they're spending their times in prayer. That's righteous, right? But what are they doing the other times?
But other days in sins and fornications until their death.
So this is someone that comes to the Shabbat, I'm praying, I'm being good with the Most High, but on the Sabbath, but then throughout the week, I'm fornicating. We see that the sin, that specific sin has a spot in torments. So again, I know I was kind of I was laughing on some things earlier, but now we're getting serious, okay? So there are specific sins for that. Read, jump down here.
But these that are sunk up to the navel are they who, when they have received the body and blood of Christ,
So these that have received the body and blood of Christ, so more specifically, this means these are people that have been baptized. Read.
And go and commit fornication, and did not cease from their sins until they died.
So the Most High is just to forgive, but you need to cease from your sins. Okay? That's it on that. Go jump down here to chapter 38. So again, we're seeing severe punishments and sins for fornicating. But again, all praise to the Most High. If you're in this room right now, if you're alive, if you have breath, you have time to repent still. So don't take this as a death sentence that I'm reading out to people, because the Most High still has given us grace and time to repent. So I'm not reading anybody's death sentence. I'm reading what the scripture says for those that don't repent. Read.
Apocalypse of Paul, chapter 38. And again, I saw men and women of a very black countenance in a pit of fire. And I sighed and wept and asked, Who are these? Who are these, Lord? And he said unto me, These are whoremongers and adulterers.
So whoremongers and adulterers, those that are going out having intercourse with multiple people, and those that are going out having intercourse with married people. Read.
Who, having wives of their own, committed adultery. And likewise the women, after the same sort, committed adultery, having their own husbands. Therefore do they pay the penalty without ceasing.
Chapter 39, it doesn't say the same thing.
Chapter 39. And I saw there girls clad in black raiment, and 4 fearful angels holding in their hands red hot chains. And they put them upon their necks and led them away into darkness.
So one of the punishments for adultery is you're going to be led away, drug away with hot chains around your neck. Read.
And again I wept and asked the angel, Who are these, Lord? And he said unto me, These are they which being virgins defiled their virginity, and their parents knew it not. Wherefore without ceasing they paid a due penalty.
So this is the punishment for fornicating outside of, obviously fornication is outside of marriage, but not only fornicating, but then not letting your parents know about it, and then being married off. Because again, marriage is a family matter. Again, in the Old Testament, we see the scripture that says that if a man marries a woman to find out not to be a virgin, she was then punished, right? Because she was stoned. Because not only did she dishonor herself, but she dishonored her family. So we know the Old Testament showed that she got stoned, but now this is what happens after. This is the torments in hell for that. That's after the stoning. Like, all right, jump down here.
And I saw other men and women hanged by their eyebrows and their hair.
What?
And a river of fire drew them.
No, read it again.
And
I don't think everybody heard.
And I saw other men and women hanged by their eyebrows and their hair.
Do you know how painful that would be? I mean, you in torments anyway, so I mean, I can't even describe numbers. But go ahead.
And a river of fire drew them. And I said, Who are these, Lord? And he said unto me, These are they that gave themselves not unto their own husbands and wives, but unto adulterers, and therefore without ceasing they pay the due penalty.
So again, that's another example of, again, those committing fornication and adultery. There was one more I wanted to get. Where is it at? So, I was rushing putting this together, but all right, so I'm gonna hold it. All right, so again, for those of you, this came from the Apocalypse of Paul. There's multiple different versions out there. The ones that I know that the church validates it's translated by, I think, M.R. James, I believe. So it's called different things, the Vision of Paul, but specifically this was the Apocalypse of Paul by M.R. James. And it gives, again, it goes over a whole bunch of different punishments and torments, okay? So again, I wasn't trying to read a death sentence out to people, not trying, well, I will say I am trying to scare you into living right. Yeah, I was trying to do that. All right? But again, just know that there's punishments for it. And we're going to end this off with, coincidentally, a scripture that we started off with in the reading of the scriptures. So go back to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 15, and we're going to end it here. Again, the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 15. I say that was all in the spirit because I had already planned on reading this, and that's what we read during the reading of the brothers. So we're going to read 15 through 19.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
So everything that I've been speaking about so far today, everything that I brought over, I told you the good and I told you the evil. Read.
Verse 16. And that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and statutes.
So that's what I'm urging everyone to do, to walk in the way of the Lord, to serve the Most High Power higher, to walk in his statutes and judgments. Read.
And to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply.
So that you may live and that you may multiply, so that we're not held to that second death, and to multiply, to make children in a righteous marriage. Read.
And the Most High thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
And the Most High is going to bless you. He's going to bless us in the land that we're going to go to. What land am I referring to? I'm referring to the kingdom. That's the land that we want to get to, right? Read.
Verse 17. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other gods, and serve them.
But what are we supposed to not be doing? We're not supposed to be drawn away into the worshiping of other gods. The worshiping of other gods can be literally worshiping another god, or the worshiping of another god can just simply be an idol of a man or a woman. Simply giving worship and honor to an idol, to serving that the person you're courting more than you're serving the Most High. That's a god. Read.
I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land.
So we just read some of the perishings, right? We just saw how some people are going to perish. Read.
Whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it. Verse 19.
So this is the end. Read.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you.
So I'm calling heaven and earth to record this day against you. Read.
That I have set before you life and death.
So you have set before you today life and death. Choose righteous courtship and marriage, or choose fornication and adultery. That's what's on the table. Read.
Blessing and cursing.
The blessings is righteousness, an aid, someone to be there to help you, someone to increase your walk with the Most High. Curses, we read some of them. I don't know all of them. None of us know. And I pray that none of us in here will know. Read.
Choose. Therefore, choose life.
Choose this day, right?
Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
So choose today, choose life, both so that you can live and that you can teach these same principles to your children so that they can live. And with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and that's the end of the lesson. I'll pray for more.